Hey everybody, Jane here, and I want to have a spoilery, detailed discussion about Kill for Me, Kill for You. This book was a complex read, and I had a lot of complex feelings on it that I wanted to talk about and see if other people felt similarly. I am going to go into all the spoilers, so if you have not read this book and don't want to be spoiled, you probably don't want to be in this video. But let's talk about Kill for Me, Kill for You. So we start off with Amanda, and her daughter was murdered, and she wants revenge on the man who killed her child, rightfully so. And she has kind of like tried to kill him, but he has a restraining order against her. Anytime he sees her, he calls the police. She cannot get anywhere near this man. And she has an unhealthy obsession with ending his life because he killed her daughter. She's going to this grief group and she meets this lady named Wendy. Wendy tells her, hey, I also lost somebody and I also want revenge on them, and you should kill my person and I'll kill yours. Kind of a strangers on a train. We also have a side plot. And I'll be really honest, I was really confused in the beginning of why we have this other character in this book. It comes together at the end, but for a hot minute, I was very confused. We have Ruth. And Ruth is a woman who, her husband goes out to, I can't remember what it was. He was doing something with the guys. I want to say it was like poker or bowling or something. And while he is gone, she is assaulted. And she is very nearly killed. The person who attacked her, the police have decided is a serial killer, and he was interrupted while he was trying to kill her. And so she is now living in absolute terrible fear of this man. And so the beginning of the book, we have Amanda's perspective and Ruth's perspective. And I wasn't necessarily loving that. You know, I'd expected to go into this with the strangers on the train type situation. So it took a while for Wendy to enter the picture. There was a lot of setup, and I was like, I don't care about this Ruth character. I don't care. Let's move on. But turns out she is very important because she is Wendy. We just don't know it yet. It is very interesting to me that there is a huge time jump, because in Amanda's chapters and Ruth's chapters, they're both talking about the president and like not people like having a bad opinion of the president, which probably, I mean, I guess we all have that sometimes. Like, there are just presidents that are not very popular. And so, you know, you think because you have them both talking about the president negatively that it's the same president, but it is not. So anyway, you find out later that Ruth is actually Wendy, and she is not actually trying to trade a murder with Amanda because she doesn't kill people, but she gets people to kill people. So shortly after Ruth had this attack, she thinks that she sees the guy who attacked her at a restaurant when she's out with her husband, and her husband kills this guy to protect his wife. And she gets this, for the first time since the attack, this feeling of, I'm safe, everything's good. And then they find out it was the wrong guy. It was the guy her husband killed could not have done this. He was not the right person. He was not even in town, in country, whatever. And so the husband is, you know, just devastated that he has killed an innocent man. He thought he was protecting his wife. He killed an innocent man. But Ruth got like a whole bit of relief from it, and she's a little crazy now because of, you know, what happened to her. So she has since then been trading murders, except she doesn't kill anybody. And Amanda is her most recent victim of let's trade murders. So she goes to Amanda and she's like, hey, Amanda, I killed your guy, but the police are going to be looking at you really soon, so you need to go kill my guy like right now. And she just kills people who look like her killer and have blue eyes. So she's like has never met this man for realsies that she sends Amanda to kill. And Amanda does go and kill him because she thinks that Wendy/Ruth has killed her person. And she hasn't. I will tell you, I liked that angle. And I love too Ruth's motivation of like, just this is her trauma response of she keeps thinking that she's killing the guy who attacked her, trying to save herself. And, it's never the guy, but she's always sure that it is and sure that she's going to get it right one of these days. So I had a really good time with that. Amanda, after she realizes what has happened, is kind of searching for Wendy/Ruth. And she meets this guy. And this guy says he was another victim of Wendy's who he traded murders with her, and then Wendy left town. And so he is trying to find Wendy because he's not happy about the situation. He killed her person and stuff. I really thought the guy, and I cannot remember his name, I thought the guy and Amanda were going to have a romance. He seemed really sweet and cute. And he is actually my biggest problem with this book, and we're going to get there in a second. So we have Amanda and the guy are trying to track down Ruth. Meanwhile, Ruth has found her next victim, and she's decided that she is going to kill them herself this time. She's not going to negotiate with somebody. I don't remember the exact reason for it, but she is not going to negotiate. She's not trading murders. She's going to go and kill this guy. And actually, she's going to kill a whole family because she has just freaking lost it. Now, I will say one caveat I have kind of about this situation is she's so organized for somebody who is clearly insane. And I'm not sure in reality if somebody who is thinking clearly enough to plan the murders as well as she does, because she tells the people she trades them with, like, what's their routine? Where do they go? She has it all sorted and planned and looked at. And it's like she's a very organized killer. I mean, she doesn't kill them, but she's very organized. And I just feel like somebody who has her stuff that together and then goes and like murders or like she's just so organized for being crazy, because at some point you'd think she'd realize she keeps killing the wrong people, or you'd think she'd feel bad about it. And like this time she knows that the guy's family, or she should know the guy's family is innocent, but she's like thinks the kids are mocking her, and she's going to kill like a family of 4 because the dad has blue eyes. So I'm not necessarily sure how we escalated to that point, but like I said, I thought Ruth as a concept was cool. I didn't necessarily think the escalation was reasonable, but she is now stalking this family to kill. And Amanda and this guy are tracking Wendy/Ruth. They get to the hotel where she is about to kill people. And the guy goes up. And we find out, is actually the guy who had tried to kill her all those years ago. And now he's like, I've been tracking you down because obviously you're trying to kill me. Although, like, he knows she's been killing the wrong people all this time. So I don't know why he feels so personally hunted, but he kind of does. He's like, I know you're tracking me. It's like, dude, you're a serial killer. Although also, like, he just moved districts. So he's been a serial killer this whole time. So he's a serial killer, and he has decided that he is going to make it so nobody believes her, because he doesn't even kill her, I don't believe. I believe he's just like, they get like her psychologist to come and be like, yes, this girl is clearly insane and needs the mental institution. And he's like, yeah, nobody's ever going to believe that I was the one. But it didn't feel like justice. Like, that is my issue, like, with this whole thing. I loved why Ruth was doing things and her motive. I think if you think too hard about it, it probably doesn't make a lot of sense, but I was willing to go with it. But this dude, the serial killer, is all like, yes, this victim got away, and I don't want to be identified, even though it's been like 20 years, and I don't want to be hunted, even though you live in a different district. She's clearly just hunting people around her. She's killed like 5 of the wrong guys. It's not like she's hardcore hunting you, my friend. You could have just gone on about your serial killer ways, but then you're like, I've got to make sure that I ruin her or whatever. And here's my issue. I get that in thrillers, we usually don't have anybody who's good. Like, I hate that. I want somebody to root for. But having him show up at the end was not satisfying to me, and having him be like, yes, I'm going to convince everybody you're crazy so you can never accuse me of being the person that killed you, even though I'm a serial murderer. It didn't feel like justice. I didn't feel good about it. It felt kind of icky. And I am not really sure what the author intended that. And then Amanda kind of having a thing with the guy felt extra icky. And then she also gets away with the murder that happened, more or less. And so I tend to be a mystery reader, and I hate that there's no justice done. The only thing that happened is poor Ruth got to the mental institution, which she needed. Like, clearly, she needed to be somewhere where she could be safe and not be hurting anybody. She was traumatized. So, like, Ruth was the only one who ended up where she belonged, and she was fairly sympathetic until she was like, I'm going to kill this guy and his entire family. It's like, okay, you have gone unhinged. Like, clearly these little kids weren't even alive when you were stabbed. So I don't know why you feel like you need to kill these kids. But yeah, so I loved so much of this. I loved while they were tracking her down. There's also a police officer who was on both cases, and he's like trying to protect Amanda, but he doesn't know that Amanda's traded this murder, but he's trying to like keep Amanda out of trouble with the other guy, and like he's trying to figure out what is going on with these blue-eyed guys. And it's really, I loved so much of this. But that serial killer coming in at the end, the guy that was helping Amanda ending up being the serial killer, it almost knocked this book down to a 3-star for me. I didn't end up giving it a 3-star because that was like the last 20 pages. And I was having such a good time up to then that I was like, I don't want to knock it down to a 3-star because I don't think that's really fair for that one detail. But in a lot of ways, I felt like that kind of ruined the book for me. And then on top of it, like, he didn't kill her, but also, like, why not? Why didn't he go back and finish the job if he knew this was going to be an issue? Like, why? Why are you trying to do things that you're doing? And I know we're not supposed to think too hard about these things, but I just felt like certain elements of this book really fall apart. Like, why go through Amanda and track Ruth and like a lot about who she was and what she was doing, although like we find out that a lot of it wasn't real, he'd made it up. And like, also, why are we supposed to root for you? You're the bad guy. You're the real bad guy here. You are the serial killer who set this whole thing in motion, and you've killed like a crap ton of people for funsies. You just stab women 50 sometimes for funsies, and yet you don't get any comeuppance. And we're supposed to kind of like you. You seem like a likable person, and also you just caused this lady who's been trying to protect herself from the trauma you caused to be sent to a mental institution. But I think the way it's written, we're supposed to be rooting for him. Yeah, the last 20 pages of this blew my mind, but not like in a good fun way, just more like I don't know how to feel about this. So if you have read this, did that reveal to you make you feel any certain way? I I don't read a ton of thrillers because I just have a hard time with there being no likable characters. And I think Amanda was fairly likable, even though, what she did was not great, but if Wendy had been telling her the truth, it would have been reasonable-ish. But yeah, so much good, and then the twist at the end, I didn't love. I didn't love it. So if you've read Kill for Me, Kill for You, Share your thoughts. What did you think of the way this ended? What did you think of the twists? Did you like the Ruth character and the thing that caused her trauma and caused her to be doing what she was doing? Because I love that. I was super invested in a lot of this book. The beginning was a little slow for me. Once we got to the strangers on the train bit, I was hooked. And then the last 20 pages, I just didn't feel satisfied by the ending. So if you've read this, tell me what you feel. Tell me what you thought. Did you feel the same as me, or did you feel differently? Leave it all in the comments below. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye!
Pictures and patterns put into words that stream across the page.